website, pushingthelimits.live, and my personal YouTube page, which is at PTL Radio Show. We appreciate everybody being here, and a lot to get to, a lot to talk about today, of course. A lot of breaking news. Senate has just approved Trump's mega bill. J.D. Vance was the tying vote. No surprise there. So now that means that it's headed to the House. We'll be talking about this with Midas Touch's very own Adam Mockler is going to be joining us at the bottom of the hour. Very bright young man, and he's going to be joining us from, as I mentioned, Adam Mockler joining us from Midas Touch. So we are covering that story. You know, as my friend Ron Filipkowski said, who joined us yesterday, I think he said it best. In the last 24 hours, Donald Trump has threatened Elon Musk, and we have audio to play for you on that. He threatened Elon Musk's deportation, so we'll certainly be playing that for you. He's threatened Thomas Massie, Japan. He threatened a judge in Israel, the CEO of AT&T, Jerome Powell. He's threatened Canada, Tom Tillis. He threatened a Forbes reporter, Harvard, and then the migrant stuff, which we are going to be getting to today as well, being eaten by pythons in the Everglades. And yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump is also selling his cologne. Yes, in the last 24 hours, he is hawking cologne and perfume that is, by the way, not very cheap. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the President of the United States hawking cologne that was just released yesterday. Women are paying $249 for the perfume. Men, a cheap $199. Have a listen to this.
Fragrances are here. They make a great Christmas present. I've named them Fight, Fight, Fight because they represent winning. We all want to be winning. We have to win as a nation. We want to win as a family. This fragrance is all about strength and success and confidence for men and for women. Get yourself a bottle and don't forget to grab one for your loved ones too. They'll thank you and they'll even smell good. Enjoy, have fun. Keep on winning, and Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Can you believe that? By the way, this isn't a joke. This is real. Donald Trump is selling cologne now. First, it was the Trump Bibles made in China for $3, now being sold for $60 with Lee Greenwood. Then he was selling the Trump trading cards and then patches of his suit when he was indicted. And that's right, ladies and gentlemen, we have all these issues all over the world, the war with Iran, what's going on in Ukraine, our economy, tariffs, the big boner bill, for lack of a better term. And now Donald Trump is deciding to sell his crappy, disgusting perfume and cologne. Folks, you can't make this stuff up. If anybody buys this, you're a complete imbecile, all right? Just like anybody who buys the Trump Bibles and any of the other crap that this guy's selling, the gold sneakers. If you buy this Trump cologne that is probably costing them about $2 or $3 and they're selling them for a couple $100, you're probably buying Melania Trump's crappy Christmas ornaments too, and you're an imbecile. And you deserve to be poor, and you deserve to have no money. I'll leave it at that. So for all you Trumpers out there, go ahead, spend all your money and buy this disgusting Trump cologne and perfume. Go ahead, buy it for your wife. Go ahead. We should call it the liable abuse perfume of grabbing women by the genitals. That's what they should call it. Anyway, congratulations on your new perfume and cologne, Mr. President. I'm sure it smells just as good as you. It's why Melania Trump is in another zip code. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about Alcatraz, Auschwitz, as I would call it. Donald Trump visiting this location earlier today in Florida. And I want Caroline the Liar Levitt to describe it for all of you, because are we going back to Nazi Germany? Is that what we are doing here? Because according to Caroline Levitt, we're going to be locking up a bunch of innocent people, trying to support their families. And I guess that brings the Trump administration and many of his MAGA supporters joy and happiness. I mean, I don't know. Keep in mind, by the way, that most of these immigrants being abducted by ICE have literally no criminal record. Listen to Caroline Levitt with a smile on her face talk about this.
On a scheduling note, tomorrow, President Trump will travel to the great state of Florida to attend the opening of a new illegal alien detention center located at Dade Collier Training and Transition Airport alongside Secretary Kristi Noem, Governor Ron DeSantis, Congressman Byron Donalds, and other state and local leaders. We hope to see many of you there. The facility is in the heart of the Everglades and will be informally known as Alligator Alcatraz. There is only one road leading in, and the only way out is a one-way flight. It is isolated and surrounded by dangerous wildlife and unforgiving terrain. The facility will have up to 5,000 beds to house, process, and deport criminal illegal aliens. This is an efficient and low-cost way to help carry out the largest mass deportation campaign in American history. We are truly coming off a historic week of President Trump racking up win after win on behalf of the American people.
Yeah, this is absolutely nauseating and sick to hear and look at Caroline Leavitt with that smile on her face. Many of the people that are going to be in this jail, I would imagine, and many, as I said, that are abducted by ICE, have no criminal history at all. These are families that are being separated, and they're gloating about this, and they're laughing about this. And then Peter Doocy, who I think is just an awful, awful reporter with Fox News, or Fox Noise as I call it, asked Donald Trump this question about these possible illegal immigrant escapes. Will they be eaten by the alligators? And Donald Trump thought it was all funny and kind of joked about it with Peter Doocy. Have a listen to this.
And with the alligator Alcatraz, is the idea that if some illegal immigrants escape, they just get eaten by an alligator or a snake or something?
I guess that's the concept. This is not a nice business. I guess that's the concept. If snakes are fast, but alligators are big. We're going to teach them how to run away from an alligator, okay? If they escape prison, how to run away. Don't run in a straight line. Run like this. And you know what? Your chances go up about 1%, okay? Not a good thing.
Yeah, I want you guys to think about that for a moment. Donald Trump is just there joking around with Peter Doocy and saying that's the idea. If an immigrant decides to leave this prison, they will be eaten by alligators. Many of the people that are being abducted by ICE are nonviolent criminals. And by the way, I am not saying if you're a violent criminal, you deserve that to happen to you, let alone a non-violent criminal. This is despicable. It is disgusting. And it's a slap in the face to the American people and to human beings in general, that the fact that the President of the United States would laugh about something like this. He thinks it's funny. Meanwhile, go ahead and pardon and call them heroes, people that beat police officers on January 6th. But if you're a nonviolent criminal abducted by ICE, let him get eaten by alligators. That's what the President of the United States just said. And as I mentioned earlier, it's been an interesting 24 hours for Donald Trump, because now he's also threatening Elon Musk. That's right, I'm not making this up either. We all know the tit for tat that they had several weeks back, and now he's being asked, are you going to deport Elon Musk?
The rest. We got a lot of hostages back, but we're going to talk about that. I don't know. I think we'll have to take a look. We might have to put Doge on Elon. You know what Doge is? Doge is the monster that might have to go back and eat Elon. Wouldn't that be terrible? He gets a lot of subsidies, Peter. But Elon's very upset that the EV mandate is going to be terminated. And you know what? When you look at it, not everybody wants an electric car. I don't want an electric car. I want to have maybe gasoline, maybe electric, maybe a hybrid, maybe someday a hydrogen. If we have a hydrogen car, it has one problem. It blows up, So I'm going to give that one to Peter. I'm going to let Peter test it out.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. You have the leader of the free world that is now threatening, as a mob boss mentality, Elon Musk with deportation. And I got to tell you, a big fundamental difference, one of many today between, MAGA Republicans and Democrats. Joe Biden, or we're talking about Barack Obama or Bill Clinton, when there were deportations, they weren't gloating about it. They didn't have Dr. Phil there with a microphone turning it into a reality show. Because, sometimes human beings have compassion. Obviously, Donald Trump has no compassion at all. But they held this presser yesterday with Ron DeSantis, as I would like to call it, a migrant concentration camp. And Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis are in front of these cages. And then Donald Trump makes a really weird statement, and there's more. But he's in front of these cages where I would imagine many of these migrants eventually will be, some of them with no criminal record at all, that have been separated from their families. And he says Biden wanted him to be in a cage? This is really weird. Listen to this.
Hey, Biden wanted me in here, okay? He wanted me. It didn't work out that way, but he wanted me in here.
Yeah, he calls Joe Biden a son of a bitch. By the way, there's no evidence to suggest that Joe Biden ever wanted Donald Trump in a cage. Listen, that would be a dream of mine, but it's just not going to happen. Joe Biden never tried to do that, so another blatant lie by Donald Trump. They're going to be putting these human beings in cages. And Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump have smiles on their face, and they're laughing about it, and they're gloating about it, treating human beings like dogs. And of course, Kristi Noem's right there too, laughing along with it. Is this the country that you want to live in? I understand that everybody wants to be in this country legally and do it the right way. I understand that. But there are a lot of good people in this country that might have not proper documentation. But does that mean they should be treated like animals? Does that mean they should be separated from their families with no due process, or sent to an El Salvador prison, or in this case, sent to a concentration camp, as I would call it, for lack of a better word? Is that the kind of country that you want to live in? It's not the kind of country that I want to live in. I don't want to live in a country where agents are not identifying themselves and they're in front of Home Depot in the early morning hours, people that just want to put food on the table for their families. Or agents outside of a courtroom when you have these people that are trying to seek asylum and they're showing up in court trying to do it the right way and then they're handcuffed. That's not the country that I want to live in. And if that's the country that you want to live in, then chances are you probably don't want brown people here and you're a racist like so many others in the MAGA base. I don't want to see a country like that. If we're talking about violent criminals, that's a different subject. But Tom Homan and members of the Trump administration lied to us. They lied to us and they said that's where their focus would be on, because we know the overwhelming majority of people that are getting put in these vans and taken by ICE are nonviolent criminals. Actually, they have no criminal history at all. They're being abducted. They're not even being, these agents aren't even identifying themselves. It's a joke. How could you be okay with this? Is this the America that you want? It's not the America that I want. It's not the America that I grew up in. This country was founded on immigrants. But if it comes to white supremacy and it comes to the Proud Boys, Trump will tell them to stand back and stand by and call them hostages and patriots and pardon them. I wonder why that is. Maybe it has something to do with the color of their skin. Just maybe. And Donald Trump telling a CNN reporter at that press conference that he wants CNN to be prosecuted. Okay, this is a media entity. He wants CNN to be prosecuted for giving false reports on the attack in Iran. By the way, that's a false statement in itself, but have a listen to this.
And Madam Secretary, CNN yesterday pushed an app that lets you track where ICE agents are. Tom Homan was saying that perhaps CNN should be prosecuted for that. That's obstruction of law. Your response.
Yeah, we're working with the Department of Justice to see if we can prosecute them for that, because what they're doing is actively encouraging people to avoid law enforcement activities, operations, and we're going to actually go after them and prosecute them with the partnership of PAM if we can, because what they're doing we believe is illegal.
And they may be prosecuted also for having given false reports on the attack in Iran.
Yes.
They were given totally false reports. It was totally obliterated, and our people have to be celebrated, not come home and say, what do you mean we didn't hit the target? We hit the target perfect. You know, the pilots came home and they said we hit the target perfect. So they may be very well prosecuted for that. What they did there we think is totally illegal.
So that is a blatant lie. That is not true. The CNN reporting were from intelligence leaks that were given to CNN. That is a lie. Completely not true. And by the way, CNN isn't telling people to break the law. CNN's telling people what their rights are, whether you're undocumented or documented, what your rights are. Because as a human being, you do have rights. And as our Constitution says, any person, not any citizen. but they want to rewrite history. They want to rewrite the Constitution. Well, guess what? That doesn't work. At least it shouldn't work, and I know there are probably some Americans that are okay with that. It's despicable and it's disgusting. Everybody in this country has the right to due process. Everybody. And the fact that, once again, he's going after CNN for reporting on classified intelligence that was given to them. And by the way, it didn't put our troops in harm's way. They have such a problem with that, they want to prosecute CNN, but yet when Pete Hegseth goes on Signal Chat and puts our troops in harm's way, nothing wrong here, nothing to see here, let's move on. They're the biggest hypocrites in the world. CNN did absolutely nothing wrong, really good reporting, and the reporting is clear and it's evident that these attacks were not what the Trump administration was telling us. That worst case scenario, it put Iran's nuclear capabilities maybe back a month or two. They had several days to get what they needed to get out of there, and we know that there were trucks that were leaving the facility. Now, the White House doesn't want to respond to that. Pete Hegseth doesn't want to respond to that. It was a waste of time, and it was supposed to be done to get the uranium and hurt Iran's nuclear capabilities. There is no evidence that that happened. In fact, there's evidence to the contrary of that, and all CNN is doing is reporting on it. And then they want to go into, oh, you're attacking our pilots and our brave men and women in uniform. That is rich from the guy who called them suckers and losers. That is rich from the guy who dodged the military multiple times. That is rich from the guy who said he didn't respect John McCain because he was captured. We've never had a president talk like that about a service member. Never. But he wants to lecture us. He wants to lecture us.
There are concerns about the Medicaid, though, cuts, though.
No, we're not going to be playing with Medicaid. Only waste, fraud, and abuse.
Americans could lose
Yeah, the Democrats have it wrong. Yeah, waste, fraud, and abuse. In fact, if you look at what's gone on, we've gone way back. We take care of Medicaid. We take care of Medicare. They will blow Medicare and Medicaid because they have no idea what they're doing. Just like they don't have any idea what they did on the border, they have no idea. Medicaid is in big trouble with the Democrats.
So you promise anyone who loses their health care coverage, that is because of waste, fraud, and abuse?
Waste, fraud, only waste, fraud, and abuse, which is what everybody wants.
So Donald Trump talking about Medicaid, and it's pretty simple to me. It's either two different aspects of it. Either Donald Trump has no idea what he's talking about, which is very plausible because most of the time he has no clue where he is or what he's talking about, or Donald Trump is just lying through his teeth. It could be both. This is what happens when you put a guy like this in office. He's going to lie about what's in the big, beautiful bill. We know that upwards of 13 to 14 million Americans will be losing their Medicaid coverage. We know that most people that are working, 30% of them aren't even offered health care benefits. And if they are, only about half of them can afford it. But again, MAGA Republicans don't want to talk about that. There's a lot of things that MAGA Republicans don't want to talk about today. They don't want to talk about this debacle in Iran, this wasted mission. They don't want to talk about the fact that the war in Ukraine is still going strong. They don't want to talk about the fact that these tariffs are harming everyone. And it's sickening, it's concerning, it's disgusting, but I just cannot believe how many people in this country are still supporting this guy. It's mesmerizing to me. It's sick. We're talking about alligator Auschwitz is what I would like to call it. They're bragging about undocumented immigrants that could be eaten by alligators. They're gloating when talking about this facility. They're holding press conferences outside of cages. That's what they did yesterday. And now Donald Trump is talking about deporting Elon Musk. And Donald Trump, and again, this is all in the last 24 hours. He went after a judge in Israel. He went after the CEO of AT&T. Besides threatening Elon Musk, going after Jerome Powell, Canada, Tom Tillis, as I mentioned earlier, a Forbes reporter going after Harvard, and making these jokes about these migrants. It's going to get worse before it gets better. I keep telling all of you guys that. It's going to get worse before it gets better. And I think it's really important to note that MAGA Republicans will only vote for this bill knowing that it's terrible for their constituents because they're afraid of Donald Trump. It's sickening. It's disgusting. And when are we going to say enough is enough? The past 24 hours have been chaotic, but pretty much every day in Donald Trump's administration since day one has been chaotic. Adam Mockler from Midas Touch is going to be joining here in just a few minutes, and we're going to be talking about all these issues with him. I also wanted to share another story that we've been covering today, and I want to share this story with you. So Idaho student murder suspect Brian Koberger, this story makes me sick. He's accepted a plea deal to spare his life. 4 innocent University of Idaho students lost their life because of this maniac, this nutcase. And this guy is able to do it. See, this is why I'm for capital punishment. And I know there's going to be a lot of people here that are going to disagree with me. Give me a reason why this guy should be alive. He took the lives of 4 innocent college students, clearly a madman and sick. And clearly he wanted to live because he made the plea, which means that he'll be life in prison without the possibility of parole. But he's going to be eating 3 meals a day. I have a serious problem with this. And when I think of the victims and their families, they're the ones that should have the say in this. Not a judge, not a jury, not attorneys. It makes me sick. I do want to go to the YouTube Super Chat before we take a break. And you could check us out on the YouTube Super Chat where your questions and comments can be heard. Also, of course, the website, which is pushingthelimits.live. Robin, thank you for your generous donation. Says low cost, $145 million a month, but we can't get FEMA. Slap in the face as we enter hurricane season. Well, Robin, I agree with you. And, you know, when Joe Biden did everything he needed to do, they criticized him. But when it comes to Trump, nope. Chicago Rob says we're not even celebrating the 4th of July because Trump took our freedom. Well, in a lot of aspects, Chicago Rob, I actually agree with you. He has taken our freedoms away in so many different ways, unimaginable. But when you vote somebody like this in office, it's not shocking. The other disgusted veteran, thank you so much for your support, sir, says no Dem ever attacked the VA, called me a sucker and a loser, a communist, a fascist, or brainwashed. I'm the veteran who called a couple weeks ago. Both parties are not the same. I agree with you that both parties might not be the same, but, you know, I think you would agree with me that we never had a president of the United States that called somebody like you a sucker or a loser. We never had a president of the United States who attacked somebody for being a POW, said he didn't respect John McCain because he was captured. Have we ever had a president who dodged the military multiple times? So these are, I agree with you, these are unprecedented times that we are living in right now. And we cannot normalize what is going on in this country. We simply just cannot do that. We can't normalize bad people who seem to gloat and be happy when people are getting separated, human beings are getting separated from their families and sent to El Salvador prisons and gloating about alligator Auschwitz, as I would call it. This is what they're gloating and bragging about because they want to see brown people in cages. That's what Make America Great Again is. And I said it before and I'll say it again. Make America Great Again is make America white again. They're proving it with their actions. Those are not going to be white people that are going to be in those cages. Make no mistake about it. Those are going to be brown people. The overwhelming majority of them abducted by ICE that have no criminal record. Are you okay with treating people like that? Human beings like that? Oh, well, Brian, they need to come in the country legally. Oh, really? Well, why is it that Republicans always make it harder for people to get naturalized? 10, 15 years in some cases. It's a joke. And I'm sick of it. I am sick of it. And you should be too. So here's what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a quick break to talk to us about all these issues. He is an extremely intelligent young man. I love his work at Midas Touch. Adam Mockler is going to be joining us live next. We're going to ask him about the Trump press conferences today and yesterday, get his thoughts on that and much, much more. There's a lot to talk about with Adam and to catch up. And of course, later on in the program, after we're done with the Adam Mockler interview, we are going to be taking your phone calls. I want to remind you guys that this portion of the show is brought to you by the official gaming bar of the Pushing the Limits radio show, Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. They're giving away $100 free gas cards every week. On top of that, their $20 bone steak, their $20 ribeye, I should say, $20 ribeye steak. It's making me hungry talking about it. They haven't upped the price in 8 years. Comes with a side and vegetables. It is delicious. You're not going to want to miss that. $20 ribeye, Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones, and you tell them that I sent you. We're going to take a quick break. Midas Touch's very own Adam Mockler is going to be joining us next. We'll be back in 90 seconds. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premier Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Yousafzai 8 years ago, made it possible for families who can't afford the equipment and fees. Donate today at www.hockeyforkids.org and help us continue making a difference. Join us in supporting Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, where every kid gets a shot at the starting line. Just a reminder, our website is www.hockeyforkids.org.
You are way too smart, way too talented, way too good to be where you are. You are meant to be making way more money, feel way hotter in your body, and having way more fun. Hi, I'm Nicole Mitchell, and I'm a life coach. I help you get hotter and richer. If that is what you're looking for, you can find me at NicoleMitchell.com. My name, Nicole, is with a K, NicoleMitchell.com. You can reach out to me on my website or on Instagram, and I will be happy to be in touch and figure out what you're looking for and how I can support you in getting there.
Have you ever dreamed of having your own radio show or a podcast, but just didn't think it was possible? Well, dreams can come true. Radio U. Radio U is a 5-day course that'll teach you how to acquire your dream show. We'll teach you how to host, how to write commercial, how to interview, how to market, how to write a contract, and most importantly, how to monetize your dream radio show. You'll learn from some of the best in the business with over 75 years in broadcast experience. You'll learn from people like me. And the best part, every single student will be live on the radio as part of the class. Plus, one student from each class will get their very own radio show. You'll be live on the air right here in Las Vegas. Radio U. The 5-day course is being offered at $699. For more information, give Radio U a call. 702-763-5024. That's 702-763-5024. Or check them out at RadioYOU101.com.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it. Obviously, there's a lot of breaking news to cover as we ran through just a little bit of it in the first segment. A lot going on, including Donald Trump and members of his administration gloating about what I would call alligator Alcatraz, alligator Auschwitz, whatever you would like to, whatever word you would like to use to describe it. So to talk to us a little bit about this and certainly the news over the course of the last 24 hours, the course of the last week, and maybe even more than that, somebody that I love having on this show. We had Ron Filipowski on every week, of course, from Midas Touch, and it's been a little while since we had Adam Mockler on. Big fan of Adam's work, and we appreciate Adam joining us right now on the program. Adam, it's good to see you, my friend. How are you?
Thank you for having me back on. It's long overdue. How you doing?
I'm doing okay, Adam. You're a busy guy. I love your work, and I appreciate you coming on with us and joining us again. I have to ask you this to start. I wanted to know what your thoughts were on the video and the press conference where Donald Trump is in front of these cages where many of these migrants will be. I would imagine many of them with no criminal history. To me, it's just a despicable time in our country right now. What do you make of that?
Yeah, obviously the display in and of itself is disgusting. I mean, they were gloating about how they set it up in like 2 or 3 weeks, which isn't a flex. That means it's not safe, it's not secure, but it also comes at a really critical time when we've seen ICE ramping up, when we see this big ugly bill adding, they want to go from $3.4 billion a year towards ICE to like 45 or so billion dollars a year by 2029, meaning we are about to enter an ICE surveillance state, like an ICE detainment state that we've never seen the likes of before. So while all of that's happening, Trump has this quote unquote cute little alligator Alcatraz on the side, but it's not so cute because it's coming at a really critical time when literally ICE is targeting people at nail salons, targeting people in courthouses, like in courtrooms. So when people go to the court to follow the proper processes, ICE will be camping there waiting for them. And again, Trump thinks it's cute to have this alligator Alcatraz, but it's like, it's not. It's pretty insensitive and terrible.
Yeah, it's sickening. I agree with you, Adam. What do you make of that? I mean, they told us, Tom Homan, and they told us we're going to go after the violent criminals. That's our priority. What it appears as though the more people that ICE is gathering up are people with no criminal history at all.
Yeah, they lied. It's as simple as that. They lied about everything. They said they were going to end the war in Ukraine. Nope. It got worse. Russia's taken more territory. More wars have broken out. Trump struck Iran. They said they were going to help the working class, the middle class, the lower class. Nope. They pulled away social safety nets. And I think when it comes to their promise about immigration, Trump is probably, in my opinion, what seems like most of the reporting backs this, being dictated around a lot by Stephen Miller. Like Stephen Miller kind of creates the blueprint behind the scenes for what happens, and Trump just seems to be dragged along. I know that he has his own really, really disgusting views on immigration, but I've heard there are times when even Donald Trump told Stephen Miller to reel it back because this is bad optics. So it's like, yeah.
And I guess this is breaking news, Adam, that I want to share with you because apparently Secretary Rubio has literally just officially announced that U.S. aid has ceased all operations. What are your thoughts on that?
That is wild. We saw both President Obama and former President Bush yesterday say in a statement that this was an atrocity, or that this was a travesty. Sorry, that was the word. They said it was abysmal. This could lead to lower estimates of 3 million deaths over the next decade. Upper estimates were 14 million extra deaths over the next decade. 14 million extra deaths. And that in turn goes to the U.S. doorstep. Here's the thing about USAID that I always say, and it's like, it's hard to explain sometimes, but when you're driving past the gas pump every day, that's like a visible indicator of how things are going to most people. Okay, gas prices are up and down, but USAID isn't as much of a visible indicator, meaning just because it's thousands of miles away, people think it doesn't really affect me, but it does. These diseases that it would prevent end up at your doorstep years later. So even though you don't see like the immediate return on USAID, like, you know, gas prices going up or down, there is a return long term. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're just at the beginning here. You know, Trump's been in office for about 5 months or so, and the future does not look too bright. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this big, beautiful bill that, at least that's what they call it. And then J.D. Vance today had to have the deciding vote. What do you make of these MAGA Republicans, Adam? You know well that 13, 14 million people could lose their health coverage, their Medicaid coverage. Yet Republicans keep blatantly lying what's in this bill, and it's in there. I mean, Mike Johnson lying about it, Donald Trump lying about it, a plethora of MAGA Republicans lying about it. What do you make of that?
It's pretty impressive how they're brazenly trying to pull the wool over the eyes of the American people. And it could backfire in the midterms if they pass it, when it seems like they pass it, and people begin to feel the effects. Because beyond the massive debt increase, which again, is kind of like one of those things like USAID, where we don't feel it right now in the immediate term. I won't feel it driving to like work or school or whatever. But what people will feel is the massive slashing of Medicaid, the massive redistribution of wealth. There's massive cuts to green energy that will cause 830,000 jobs to be cut. Unions came out against that. We have, again, redistribution of wealth, likes of which we've never seen. Even changes to election integrity coupled with changes to housing and urban development, it all creates a pretty terrifying, terrible bill. And I think that Republicans are going to face the consequences of that.
No question about that. I do want to ask you about Iran, because based on at least the early U.S. intelligence, is that this was not as successful as Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth are leading people to try to believe anyway, right? We know that Iran had a few days notice. We know that trucks were leaving those facilities. They don't want to talk about that. There's no evidence that any got any uranium out of there. And our own intelligence says maybe it set them back a month or two. Again, we talk about lying, Adam, all the time. You do and I do. It seems like we're not getting any more or any credible information from the Trump administration about how successful or unsuccessful this mission actually was.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion that the Iranian regime should not have nukes. I think they're uniquely dangerous because, my dad is Muslim. His whole side of the family, they're Muslim. We have these conversations, and they're more like a westernized version of Islam. They're toned down. They're just like, they pray a lot, but the Iranian leaders, the leaders in Iran, that's the most extreme version of Islam possible, meaning they think there is a certainty of paradise. And if they nuke anybody, everybody goes to paradise or whatever. So it's terrifying. That being said, we had a deal. The JCPOA was a perfectly good deal, at least for the decade it was in place, for us to have oversight, relentless oversight into this. Trump shredded it up in 2017 or 18. And he shredded up because he hates Obama, right? But he had no fallback plan for the JCPOA, for the Iran nuclear deal. With no fallback plan, that allowed Iran to continue enriching their uranium. That led to the current escalation that we see today. Trump has no plan. He has no ability to cut a deal or create a plan or even concepts. So the point is, despite me thinking Iran shouldn't have nukes, Trump has no clue how to deal with this. Obama had a good framework, a good plan in place. And yeah, Trump's lying. It's funny because Trump contradicted his own intelligence multiple times. When his intelligence was saying, at first, we don't know if Iran is enriching, he was like, oh, they're lying, don't listen. Then when they said, oh, no, we didn't actually completely succeed, he was like, no, don't listen to them. So in 6 months, we're probably going to see Netanyahu pull us back into a similar deal. And I'm just because I am not a fan of the Iranian regime, I'm not a fan of Netanyahu either. It's nuanced.
Yeah. So Adam, I think for the most part, we agree on this, right? Obviously, we don't want Iran to have these nuclear capabilities, but I'm not a fan of Benjamin Netanyahu either. Here's my issue. It appears to me, and you tell me whether you would disagree with this or not, that the Israeli intelligence Donald Trump is going by, he's not going by our own intelligence. You know what Tulsi Gabbard said under oath a few months ago. It appears to me that he's being played by Benjamin Netanyahu in a similar way that he's being played by Vladimir Putin, and he just wants to get his muscle in the game. That's what it appears to me. Does that make sense to you?
Oh yeah, he's being dog walked by by Benjamin Netanyahu and Vladimir Putin as well.
Yeah.
But in this case, he's being dog walked by Netanyahu in the sense that Donald Trump would have rather this not happen. He would have rather been the no new wars guy. Once it happened, he jumped in at the last minute because he wanted to take an easy victory, except the easy victory wasn't so easy because the war continued. So he's been pulled and stretched along by Benjamin Netanyahu every step of the way. And I don't think Israeli intelligence is one that we should. I mean, they have really good intelligence, but they would probably lie about WMDs or about nukes. So, I think we go based off of our own intelligence. We try to collect it in a nonpartisan way, and then we display it with a lot of oversight to the public. And yeah, it's just the way Donald. I agree with your analysis. Yeah, Netanyahu's dog walking Trump.
Yeah. I have to ask you this, Adam, on a lighter note. At times I do wear cologne. I'm sure you do as well. I'm sure you've heard over the last 24 hours, Donald Trump putting out, something else to swindle people by, and which is cologne. I think the men's cologne is around $200, women's perfume somewhere around $350. I'm wondering if Joe Biden did something like this, the Joe Biden cologne, what MAGA Republicans would say. This is a guy who sells Bibles. This is a guy who sells patches of his suit when he was indicted. And when all this stuff is going on all over the world, as you mentioned, the war in the Ukraine, which he said he would end in 24 hours, Iran, tariffs, this bill that will be a disaster, they put out a cologne. I'm just wondering from your standpoint, what's your thought on that?
I'm just picturing the red pill MAGA dudes who always say, why don't girls ever like me? And they show up to the date and they're wearing Trump sneakers with a Trump cologne and a Trump tattoo or whatever. Yeah, maybe that's why. Maybe wear Guess cologne. I like Guess cologne sometimes, but Trump's cologne, I could not imagine that.
Just horrible.
Yeah.
You've had some run-ins with Mike Lindell before I let you go. You've had some run-ins with him. And as you know, he was in court a few weeks ago, and his own attorney basically called him a liar. His own attorney said, yeah, you can't believe anything Mike Lindell says. you've had videos that have gone viral, and we've talked about that. I'm wondering, what are your thoughts on this? Because you spoke to him at the DNC too. What are your thoughts? That was great. What are your thoughts on what took place in a courtroom where basically Mike Lindell's own defense attorney said, you can't believe a word this guy says?
It's kind of like the Tucker Carlson defense too. Tucker Carlson, or I think it was Tucker in court a while back, they said it's entertainment, not news. You can't actually trust. It was like no reasonable person would believe that what Tucker was saying was the truth. So they're inadvertently slapping Fox News viewers in the face by saying they're not reasonable people. But I think that Mike Lindell is a true believer in the Trump regime. And I've debated with my audience about this, whether he's grifting himself, but no. I think this dude has spent a lot of money. He's a true believer. I think we talked about this one time, whether or not he truly believes this stuff.
Yep.
The more I talk to him, maybe drugs fried his brain, like unironically, and but he believes the Donald Trump stuff. He thinks the election system needs to be back to paper ballots. I don't know.
I wanted to ask you, because you have such a large following and you do such a great job. And, I've had Luke Beasley on the show before. You both are extremely intelligent, well-spoken. I feel like, and not to open up a can of worms, there's a lot of reasons why Kamala lost, but I believe this is one of them. There are a lot of people your age that are right-wing podcasters, and Trump did those podcasts. And I think, of course, Trump got the younger vote, at least more than they thought. Why do you think there are not more people out there like you over the course of the last 10, 15, 20 years? We don't have enough people like you, and it seems like there are more people around your age that are Trump supporters. Am I wrong in making that assertion? And do you think the Democrat Party have a problem and they need to find more people like you?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you. But second of all, I think that my generation tends to look for more extremes they tend to lean towards the extremes of either side. And right now, the Democrats are very status quo. Kamala had a very status quo campaign, and Trump was like the change candidate who was going to change everything. So that was part of it. I also think the right-wing media ecosystem is really strong. I always say there's two components. There is the pipeline, and then there's the volume. So the pipeline is like every young dude at one point has dating problems, and they go to look up, what do I do with these dating problems? And then it leads you down this red pill, Andrew Tate, MAGA pipeline. Or if I have friends that work out, they're always at the gym. And when they go to the gym, they look up Instagram reels after, and then they're watching Make America Healthy Again reels. So they create this pipeline. And then once you're down the pipeline, they just carpet bomb you with volume. The volume thing would be imagine Elon Musk's volume of tweets every day, 100, 200, probably even 300 tweets every day, just over and over and over. And that's across every platform. So what we do on YouTube, I post a lot. I try to, whenever Caroline Levitt does a press conference, I'm fact checking. When Trump does a press conference, I'm fact checking. When Elon Musk ends up escalating with Trump, I'm on it, making sure I break it down and say, well, Elon has his own self-interest right here, but he's probably right about here. So, yeah, I mean, I think the question as to why more people aren't making content and stuff, I don't know. That's a good question. We should create the incentives too.
I will say this, I've done Pierce a number of different times. I enjoy when you're on Pierce Morgan as well. It always feels like I'm 3-on-1 sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
You do a good job there. We got to get on there together. I got to text them over there and say, I got to get on with Adam, because I would love to team up with you against some. I mean, I was on with Clay Travis and Roger Stone a few weeks ago, and they're just the biggest clowns in the world.
I saw that. With all due respect to Pierce, I feel like he always has one liberal on, then boxes a liberal out at convenient times. I try to get a point in, and I'm just oh, whatever.
It's interesting you say that, Adam, because he read a tweet that I put out. And, you're probably a nicer guy than me, but sometimes I use extremely strong language. MAGA buffoons. I threw a few F-bombs out there, and I was tweeting it out. And he takes the tweet, and he's like, Brian, are you comfortable with that language? Pierce Morgan is friends with Donald Trump, a liable sexual abuser who attacks Gold Star families. And it blows my mind. You're right. It's like he tries to pin he does that with Pac-Man also. He tries to pin us in the corner with something ridiculous and stupid, and meanwhile takes the side of a guy like a Clay Travis. So I don't even know how to combat that sometimes.
Yeah, the double standards between the sides really piss me off. I don't even know. It reminds me when Biden gave that one speech where he was not all Republicans, but MAGA Republicans are hate this country or whatever, but not even most Republicans. They were saying that's going to cause a civil war. That's Civil War language or whatever. And then Trump sends these all cap posts about insane shit on Memorial Day, Happy Memorial Day to all the losers who hate this country. And they're that's just Trump. Every single day you see these double standards. what was the one senator's name that was making fun of the Minnesota shooter?
Mike Lee.
Mike Lee, him, or who's worse, Andy Ogles, who called Zohran Little Muhammad. I can't even keep track of all the
He wanted him deported. He said we should be deported.
Yeah, I can't even keep track of all the insane lunatics on the sitting in Congress. And then like some activists will like burn a car, and apparently that's the same as Mike Lee sitting in Congress.
Yeah, it's such a double standard, Adam. Hey, I love what you do, brother. Keep up the great work. Hopefully we'll talk to you again soon. I love what you guys do at Midas Touch. Ron Filipowski says hello. He joined me yesterday. Keep up the great work, my friend, and keep doing what you're doing. It's important.
Means more than you know. Tell Ron I said what's up, and thank you for having me. Peace out.
Thanks, Adam. You're the best. Adam Mockler, everybody from Midas Touch. Just so awesome at what he does. David Packman's going to be joining us on the show next week, by the way. So that's another big guest. Looking forward to listen, I want to get people on the far right. I've been talking to Tim Pool's producer. Okay. I'll give you guys the rundown. Okay. I'll give you the insight. I've been talking to Tim Pool's producer to try to get Tim Pool on this show. We're trying to work out some sort of deal where I go on Tim Pool's podcast and he comes on this show. I want to get people like Tim. Obviously, I want to have people like Ron Filipowski and Adam Mockler on the show as well. But I like a mix of different people. I don't always want people on the show that agrees with me. And I think most people that watch this show on a regular basis know that about me. I like getting into it with people. I like mixing it up with people. It's what I do. But Adam is so great. I want to say thank you to my good friend Darcy Merritt, who has been on this show before, and we got to get Darcy on the show again. She is just a wonderful woman. I have nothing but kind things to say about her. She's so great, and she's become a great friend. She says, love that Adam has joined PTL. He's awesome. Darcy, you are correct. Adam Mockler is the best. I'm very lucky that I have a Rolodex of some good friends and some really good people. How about Captain PJ with a very generous donation? Captain PJ, we appreciate you so much. $100 donation. Captain PJ says, I only wish I could afford more. Keep up the great work. Captain PJ, can't tell you how much we appreciate you and appreciate what you're doing. Chris, Supertramp, what Republicans never mention is the fact that most of these migrants make their way to the country. Sorry, I missed the rest of that. I'll try to get to, here it is. Make their way to the country because our foreign policy in Central America in the 70s and 80s. Yeah, that's a good point, Chris, and I do appreciate your support of the show as well. Thank you to all who have been making the donations on the YouTube Super Chat. We really appreciate you guys. It helps us keep the lights on, and it helps us keep doing what we're doing. So it's very, very much appreciated. Captain PJ is also entered into the contest this month for someone to do a segment with me live on this show. So Captain PJ, you are automatically entered with a $25 donation or more. You're entered into the contest to be a guest on this show, just like Adam Mockler was. So we appreciate that. All right. So give the rundown here before we open up the phone lines at 702-221-7283. And again, that number, if you'd like to be a part of the program, 702-221-7283. There's a lot of things that we are talking about today. We just ran through some of them with Adam Mockler from Midas Touch. So Alligator Alcatraz, as I am calling it, Alligator Auschwitz. You have these cages there. We know that many people that are going to be in these cages are going to have no criminal history at all. Can you imagine that for a moment? Just think about this for a moment, because I know a lot of MAGA Republicans can't put themselves in the lens of somebody else. I want you guys to think about this for a moment, and then we'll take calls. Imagine you're seeking asylum for you and your family, and you're risking your life for a better life for your family. You come into this country, you're not legal citizens. Maybe you've lived in this country for 10, 15, 20 years. Maybe you have kids here. You pay your taxes, you work. And all of a sudden, some unidentified agents come to your job, or maybe even outside a courtroom, tackle you to the ground and arrest you, separate you from your kids. And then you're sent to some cages in Florida, or maybe even an El Salvador prison, with little food and water, little to no medical attention, and you're treated like an animal. And you don't know if you'll ever see your loved ones and your family ever again. Is that the country that you want? Because if you're going to give me a response and you're going to say yes, then I don't want you in this country, because you're despicable. And the people that are okay with this, the Ron DeSantis's of the world and the Donald Trumps and the Kristi Noems of the world, is it a coincidence that they're all white? I don't know. Maybe it is. Is it a coincidence that we had 10 white people from South Africa that were brought in to this country by Donald Trump with open arms? I think it's not a coincidence. This is Make America White Again. It's happening right before our eyes. Project 2025, and many of you are complicit, and you just won't admit it. What Donald Trump is doing to this country, the damage that he is doing to this country. We're talking about that and the fact that Donald Trump fiddling around with the possibility of deporting Elon Musk. Do I think he'll actually do it? No, but he could. He was talking about it today. These migrant cages where Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump were holding a press conference earlier today, gloating and bragging about it and making a joke about alligators possibly eating migrants that tried to escape. Lying about Medicaid, lying about the big, beautiful bill, lying about the fact that 13 or 14 million people in this country, if this bill does pass, could be without Medicaid. This is serious stuff. But they want to talk about transgenders, and they want to talk about banning books, and they want to talk about how much they hate Gay Pride Month. And, you know, these are the topics that are important to them, right? Banning books, banning an LGBT book in a classroom. But yet they want to go on the streets, and these agents on the streets, some of them not even identifying themselves, arresting people, separating families, treating them like animals. Well, let's talk about those books that they want to ban. Let's talk about how bad transgender surgery is. So that's what we're talking about here today. And also, I want to get your opinions on this Idaho psychopath who took the lives of 4 innocent people, Brian Kohberger, because this bothers me too. And I know there's people on this show that call in a lot that disagree with me. This is the perfect example of capital punishment. Brian Kohberger should not be in our system, life in prison, getting 3 meals a day. The victims' families wanted the death penalty. So why shouldn't they get what they want? It's despicable to me that the prosecutors put in a plea deal to spare his life, and 4 innocent college students were massacred. So we're talking about that as well. Number to call is 702-221-7283. And again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283. And again, that number, 702-221-SAVE. Let's start off with Kathy. Kathy is first up on PTL. Hey, Kathy, what's going on?
And the babies would be taken from them. And at that time, alligator purses and bags and things like that were a big commodity during that time period. So what they would do in order to catch the alligator, they would steal the slaves' babies, and they would use those babies to chum the water to get the alligators, and then they would, you know, with the babies being thrown in the water and thrashing around in the water, of course, it would attract the alligators. So when I heard of that alligator Alcatraz, I don't think that phrase was done off the cuff. I think that was a deliberate phrase because of the historical meaning behind it. And it is totally disgusting. And I think this is par for the course for DeSantis, because if you recall, when he was running against the black guy, he said the phrase, "Let's not monkey this up." So he has been using race baiting for as long as he was governor.
Oh, no question.
I just wanted to,
I remember Ron DeSantis, if you recall, my dear, putting a bunch of migrants on a plane that were seeking asylum with fake brochures and lies and trying to own the libs and treating them as political pawns. That's who Ron DeSantis is, because that was intentional. Now, what is going on here is that's to me one of many fundamental differences between MAGA Republicans and Democrats today is they gloat. MAGA Republicans gloat when human beings suffer. Owning the libs, they want liberals to suffer. They want migrants to suffer. And this is a perfect example of that. They literally held a Q&A presser in front of these cages, and they were smiling. They thought it was funny. Donald Trump was joking today about migrants, if they try to leave the prison, they could be eaten by alligators. This is unprecedented times. It's so beyond inappropriate. It's so disgusting. And it's absolutely mesmerizing to me that any decent human being at all could still support Donald Trump in any way, shape, or form with the behavior just of the last 24 hours, let alone the last 8, 9, 10 years. It's sick. Thank you for the call, my dear. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Kevin. Kevin is next up on PTL. Hello, Kevin.
Hello. Just to let you know, I am not a Trump supporter.
Okay. If you are, that's okay. I'm still happy to have a conversation with you. But go ahead, just for the record. But go ahead, Kevin.
Do you want to know who's the person that annoys me the most in this administration?
Wait, come again? What did you say?
The person that annoys me the most in this administration.
Who would that be?
Caroline Lovett.
Tell me why.
Do you see the way she attacks reporters when they ask her about Trump?
Yeah, but I agree with you, but Donald Trump has been doing this since the beginning of time. Certainly you must not like, yeah, you agree with me there. So I think that's the, so correct me if you disagree with me on this, but I think that's what Donald Trump tells everybody in his administration. He's done the same thing with Pete Hegseth. He's done the same thing with all of his other press secretaries. Whenever they challenge them with that actual real question, even if it's a Fox News reporter, they are told to attack the media.
Yep.
And it's sick. It's sick. I mean, there's something in this country called free press. I would also say that there are media members in this country that lie for a living. The Sean Hannitys, the Laura Ingrams, they spew hate and bigotry. They do it on a daily basis. But I got to tell you something. We do have freedom of press here. And whenever a challenging question is asked to Donald Trump that he doesn't want to answer, it's always a tell that he has, because he will say, "Where are you from?" You notice that? Whenever a question is asked where it will try to hold him to some level of accountability, he won't answer the question. He'll attack the reporter, or he will say something like, "Where are you from?" What that means in Trump language is, you're holding me to account. I don't want to answer your question, and I'm going to avoid it. That's what it means.
This never happened under Joe Biden, just to let you know.
Well, no, it didn't happen under Joe Biden. It didn't happen under Barack Obama. Heck, I'll even say it didn't happen under George W. Bush or Bill Clinton or George Bush Sr. It's happening under Trump now. It happened under Donald Trump the first time around, and it ain't going to get any better, my friend. It ain't going to get any better. That's why when we say this is an attack on our democracy, it's an attack on our Constitution, it's attacked on our freedoms, freedom of press being one of them. These are the people that want to tell us that they're being censored. Yet we have people with actual real press credentials who work for legitimate organizations. I'm not talking about idiots like Tim Pool. I'm talking about real credentialed people who have been working in this business for decades. And they're going to attack those people for asking legitimate questions, trying to hold the Trump administration to account. That is why we call it an oligarchy, and that is why we call it a dictatorship. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. If you're a Trump supporter, you are more than welcome to call into the show, and I'm happy to go at it with you. Let's go to Pete. Pete is next up on PTL. Hey, Pete, what's going on?
Hey, Brian, you're the best, man.
Thank you.
Listen, I wanted to say that right now it's costing the administration, I think they're putting $3.5 billion into ICE to do this deportation. Their goal is to go to $45 billion a year. So that means there's going to be, it's going to be insane what's going to happen in the next couple of years. And I want to say one last thing that's going to be pretty controversial. I think we need, especially the youth. Your conversation with Adam was great, by the way.
Great. Thank you.
I love Adam and I love David Pakman, both awesome. About the youth today. Well, the youth, man. This is the thing that religion is destroying this country. Okay, I don't care if people are religious; they could be as religious as they want. But if we're going to have the cognitive dissonance in our youth that it's going to believe in this fairy tale that they're going to go somewhere when they die, they're going to get pushed around and they're going to get, played by Republicans, because that's what they've been doing forever. Okay, they use religion as their voice to get to these vulnerable people. That's all I want to say, man.
Well, I appreciate that, and I certainly agree with you. And the agenda being put forth by the Trump administration is despicable. It's disgusting. Lori in the YouTube super chat, 2 firefighters that were killed in Idaho. We will talk about that 150%. Lori, I do want to bring that up. And gun laws obviously need to be stricter. I talk about that all the time, and it's a terrible tragedy that took place in Idaho from a madman and 2 innocent firefighters losing their lives. It's a tragedy. Digital David says, hi, Brian, please ask MAGA to defend Trump comments about saving money by investigating Elon, the man he put in charge of Doge and government spending. Absolutely, I agree. Isn't it interesting how this all falls apart? Isn't it interesting that it's only been less than 6 months? The war in Ukraine is still going on. We've entered an ill-advised war, in my estimation, with Iran. We had what we can see from our own intelligence, an unsuccessful mission, the tariff drama, and now this big, beautiful bill that is a joke. And there's not one reasonable Republican that thinks this is a good idea. Not one. We are looking at 13 to 14 million people in this country that are going to lose their medical benefits, Medicaid. How could anybody defend this? 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Frank. Frank is next up on PTL. Hey, Frank, what's going on?
Hey, Brian, how you doing today?
Hey, good, Frank. What's on your mind today?
Did you hear that Pierce Morgan is getting sued by somebody?
Say that again. Come at me again with that.
Did you hear that Pierce Morgan is getting sued by somebody?
I did not hear that. I guess it wouldn't shock me, but no, I did not hear that.
No, it was not. It was someone on the YouTube. Somebody put.
I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you this about Pierce Morgan. I actually believe that Pierce Morgan is on our side when it comes to policy. When it comes to gun control, when it comes to abortion, when it comes to social issues, I think actually Pierce Morgan is very liberal. But I think in my opinion, he remains friends with Donald Trump and people on the MAGA rights because he knows that's where he's going to get his ratings. So that's what I think of Pierce Morgan. I actually think he leans to the left on social issues, but he just doesn't admit it a lot.
Yes. And did you hear that they shut the voting for elections in Florida next year?
Yes, I did. I did hear that. It's pretty evident, Frank, and I appreciate your call, Frank. Thank you. It's pretty evident that Republicans are doing a couple things they've been doing for decades. They want to get a limited amount of people to vote. They want to make it harder for people to vote because the more people that vote, the better chance they have of losing. And they want to make it as hard as possible for brown people to come into this country. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just reporting facts here. This is the Republican Party based on the policies that they try to implement, and sometimes they do. They want to make it harder for people to vote. They want to suppress the vote. They want to attack brown people. They don't want brown people coming to this country, legal or not. Go ahead, MAGA world. Prove me wrong. 702-221-7283, the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Pat. Pat is next up on PTL. What's going on, Pat? Hi, Pat.
Yeah, I like Adam. He's very knowledgeable. I appreciate him.
Adam's great. Yep.
Yeah. Brian, I agree with the caller before talking about Carolyn Levitt. She gets up with that nasty hatred in her heart. How can somebody get up and talk that nasty to people?
I'll tell you.
I know Trump is bad. I'll tell
you.
She's got it really bad.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you how. There are a lot of people in this country that call themselves Christians. There's a lot of people in this country that put on a cross and somehow that thinks they are a saint. It is the opposite. There are a lot of good Christians in this country. There are a lot of religious people in this country that are good people. Right. Caroline Levitt is not one of them. What these people do is they hide behind their religion. They use their hate, whether they'll be anti-gay or anti-trans or treat people that are living paycheck to paycheck like garbage. They'll make excuses and they'll talk about their religion. Your religion.
There is no way she can be a Christian and get up there and talk like that. And they have such joy in their heart when they talk about that alligator police in Florida. They are like it's really a good thing.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders is another perfect example of that. Call themselves.
Yes.
Listen, I know really good Christian people. And I'm not a religious person, but part of Jesus' teachings is treat everybody with respect, especially those that are poor. And when you look at what Donald Trump is doing with this big, beautiful bill, it attacks the poor and it gives the biggest tax breaks. I've been saying this for decades. Right. And MAGA Republicans,
how can they?
It gives the biggest tax breaks to the billionaires.
How can they call this a Christian when God said, love the people, love no matter what, you love your neighbor, you love whoever. And she gets up there and talks so nasty and just hateful. And she's got kids. Don't you think your kids are going to see that one day?
I agree with you. And what I was trying to get to there is that these will be, if the big, beautiful bill passes, this is a fact. This is not an opinion. This will be the biggest tax breaks for billionaires in the history of this country. The biggest tax breaks for the richest people in this country. Meanwhile, those that are suffering, those that are on food stamps, we know that food stamps are going to be cut, like $10 billion, I heard. There are people that are not going to be able to put food on the table, yet so Jeff Bezos could have another $50 million wedding. This is sick stuff, man. This is sick.
So what kind of God are they serving that they can do that with?
I'll tell you.
And say they have a heart.
I'll tell you the God they're serving. A God that puts on 8 layers of orange makeup every day. A God that is a liable abuser to them. A God that is a 34-count felon who has cheated on every single woman he's ever been with. That's the God that they look up to. Now, they can say, oh, no, that's not our God. Our God is Jesus. They could lie, but their God, based on their behavior and the way they act, is Donald Trump. It's sick, these people. That is why we call it a cult. Thank you for the call, my dear. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Shelley. Shelley is next up on PTL. Hi, Shelley.
Hey, Brian. The Republicans have been working towards cutting social programs for decades. And they found a puppet and an evil man in Donald Trump to do so.
Yeah.
And he is the most evil president we have ever had. I have never, ever heard a president talk about wanting people to be eaten by a freaking alligator.
Well, he laughed about it. He thought it was funny. Let's throw him in there, see how he likes it.
It's not fucking, it's not funny.
No,
it is not funny.
He looks at this job as a grifting reality show. That's the way Donald Trump looks at this job. He doesn't care about you and me. He doesn't care about normal, everyday Americans. He doesn't care about his own supporters. Heck, he doesn't even care about his own family. The only person that Donald Trump
care if kids starve.
The only person he cares about is himself. And
I'm sorry.
You know, it's all. I keep telling people this. It's and I'm not trying to gaslight. I'm not trying to scare people. I'm always going to be honest, whether it scares people or not. It's going to get worse. It's getting worse.
Yes, it is.
It's getting worse month by month. It's going to get worse before it gets better.
And I'm sorry, Brian. I am of the opinion now that we should take posts and things down that people can look at just, very quickly. Mm-hmm. I am to that point right now.
As am I.
You never know.
As am I, Shelley.
You never know.
I agree, Shelley. I understand your concern, and I certainly don't disagree with you at all. MAGA supporters are always welcome here. But unfortunately, sometimes they get a little bit timid and scared, which I understand. If I had that low IQ, I'd probably be timid and scared as well. But if you would like to call into the show and you are okay with alligator Alcatraz, if you are okay with Donald Trump joking about an alligator taking the life of a human being, are you okay with Donald Trump threatening to deport Elon Musk? Are you okay with Donald Trump threatening to prosecute CNN? I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear from you. Tell us why you're okay with that. And the number to call is 702-221-7283. And again, that number, if you would like to be a part of the conversation, is 702-221-7283. 702-221-SAVE. Let's go to Becky. Becky is next up on PTL. What's up, Becky?
Oh, hi, Brian. How are you?
Good.
I just wanted to pass a compliment to you that I think your show is awesome. And
thank you.
I have to say, when you put on your boxing gloves and go after those magnets, it's like it's better than going to the movies to me, because I just love it, love it, love it.
I appreciate it. Depends what movie. It depends what movie. But yes,
yeah, right. I wanted to get your opinion. Even when this man was president before, and now second time, I don't know if I'm hallucinating, but it seems as though we are more divided racially, economic, LGBTQ, more so than ever. And it really seems like we're going backwards instead of forward.
Yeah.
And for someone like myself who is not a racist and never will be, I think people should be treated based on their character. I think he's representing the world very poorly in that. In your opinion, do you think that there's a possibility that we may enter into like a war, civil war?
I've been asked that question before. And I got to be honest with you, about 6 months ago, 5 months ago, I said, no, I don't think that's going to happen. And I'm more along the lines right now of saying it could. I still don't think it will, but I'm saying it's a possibility. With the way this country's going right now, I think it's a possibility. I'm not going to say it's not. I wouldn't have given you the same answer 6 months ago. Make no mistake about it. The first 5 months of Donald Trump's administration is even worse than I thought it would be. I knew it'd be bad. I didn't think it'd be this bad. But maybe we could buy some of that Trump cologne and perfume, and maybe that'll make us feel better. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I once went into a Port Authority restroom in New York because at the time I was like 15 or 16 years old. I didn't have my driver's license yet. I'd go into New York City. And I remember it was one of the worst smells I've ever had. I would imagine that's what Trump cologne smells like, and that's what Donald Trump smells like a Port Authority bathroom.
Yuck.
Sorry, I put that horrible smell on you. I apologize for that, but I appreciate the call. 702-221-7283. Let's go to William. William is next on PTL. Hey, William, what's going on?
Do you have your boxing gloves on?
Do I have my boxing gloves on? Well, when I'm on the radio, I'd like to think I do.
Okay, good. So did you look up Buttigieg was the leading vote getter for president for the Democrats?
Buttigieg, you mean? You said, what did you say?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm old.
That's okay. That could be possible. Pete Buttigieg is a very intelligent guy. What do you think about that?
Oh, no, I was just wondering if you saw the poll. That's all.
I did not see the poll, but somebody had told me last night that Pete Buttigieg was a front runner. You know, the problem that I have with that is that there's a lot of people in this country that are bigots. I hate to say that, living in this country myself, that will not vote for him because he's gay. That's my concern. It's not my concern that he wouldn't be a great president. It's not my concern that he's not qualified. My concern is there's a lot of idiots in this country that won't vote for him.
Right, because what I was going to say now that you've heard about it is that not one black person voted for him in the poll.
What? Well, how many people did they poll? I'd have to have a little bit more information.
You know what? That's why I asked you to find what I'm just saying.
Well, I can tell you this: the overwhelming majority of black people would be voting for Pete Buttigieg over a MAGA Trumper like J.D. Vance. That doesn't concern me. What concerns me are the people in this country that didn't vote for Kamala because she's a woman. They didn't vote for Kamala because she's black. They won't vote for Pete Buttigieg because he's gay. Those are the people that I have no tolerance for, and we call those people MAGA supporters.
And I agree with you that there are people in all three categories.
Tell me, what do you mean by that?
There's people that didn't vote all three categories.
Okay.
That won't vote for them just because of no reason.
I think there were a lot of people that sat out in November. We can go back in time and talk about the reasons why Kamala lost. I don't want to do that. We've exhausted that. But I can tell you this. I think Pete Buttigieg should run as vice president. And I think he should run, whether it be somebody like a Josh Shapiro, whether it be somebody, like the governor of California, Gavin Newsom. It has to be somebody like that. And if you want to put Pete Buttigieg in there to run as vice president, and then maybe it'll be his time 4 years later, I think that's probably a better plan for Pete Buttigieg. Again, I'm not saying he's not qualified. He absolutely is. He's a good man. I have a ton of respect for him. Very intelligent guy. I think he'd be a great president, but there's a lot of people that won't vote for him because he's gay. That's just the reality. I'm not going to lie to you. That's a reality. Now, those people are bigots, but that's just the truth. I appreciate the call, my friend.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Reggie. Reggie is next up on PTL. Hey, Reggie, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing, Brian?
Good.
Listening to you since last year. I'm glad I found your show, and I listen to you every day, even though I'm at work. But still, I agree with everything that you've been saying, and I've never seen anything like this organization in my entire life.
Yeah.
And Trump organization and the Republicans, I can also say that they're probably part of the racist group also. But me being a military Navy veteran, I just like you, I just can't see why any veteran would vote for this guy and agree with what he's doing. And Herb, poor Herb, he's just a disgrace. I just can't say anything else about Herb. He's just a disgrace calling into the show.
It's not just somebody like a guy like a Herb who calls into this show. There are millions of people like Herb in this country that are extremely ill-informed. They're uneducated, and the worst, maybe one of their worst qualities is they can't admit they're wrong about anything. I mean, they can literally say the earth is flat, and you could show them evidence that it's not, and they won't admit they're wrong. That's what makes these people so dangerous. They don't want to admit that they made a mistake in voting for Donald Trump. They don't want to admit that the world is on fire. We're in a war now with Iran. When you look at what's going on in the Ukraine, that war is no better off now than it was on day one. I think you could make the argument maybe even worse. We could talk about the economy. We could talk about these tariffs and the stress it's put on so many people all over the world, including people in this country and American consumers that have to pay for it. We could talk about that. And then this big, beautiful bill that they're calling where literally people are going to lose their lives because they're going to get off of Medicaid. We're talking 13, 14 million people. But again, you speak to these MAGA Republicans and all they'll say is, well, I like what he's doing on immigration. I like what that guy's doing on the border. I like what that guy's doing on immigration. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Many of these people wear their white hoods, I'm sure, tonight. It's sick. These people are sick. These are human beings in this country. And I'm not talking about the violent criminals. The overwhelming majority of these people that are getting handcuffed outside of courtrooms, that are getting deported, are non-violent criminals. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is the guy that pardons a bunch of people who beat cops on January 6th, and they call them patriots and heroes. These people have no credibility, and they're despicable.
You're right, Brian. And they're going to get what's coming to them eventually. And I'm just ready for 2026 and 2028, and I'm hoping everything goes the blue way.
Couldn't come fast enough, my friend, and it's good to hear from you, Reggie, and I appreciate your phone call, my friend. Thank you. MAGA callers always welcome, although there's probably not a lot of MAGA people out there that can defend the indefensible. At least maybe they don't have the brain power to do so. I don't know. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Rebecca. Rebecca is next up on PTL. Hey, Rebecca, what's going on?
Hi, Brian. I read an article today. Well, it was in the Axios and a different site that the DOJ is now wanting attorneys as soon as they're done, with all the immigrants here now. Then they're going to go after the 25 million immigrants that became citizens. And if they have any criminal record, they're going to throw them out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can tell you that it is. I can tell you that anything and everything is on the table. And I wouldn't put anything past Donald Trump because sadly the conservative Supreme Court gave him immunity. And he is acting as a mob boss. And I talked about this to start the show. And my friend Ron Filipkowski from Midas Touch put out a great tweet. And he kind of gave us the rundown of what is happening here just in the last 24 hours. In the last 24 hours, Donald Trump has threatened to deport Elon Musk. He's attacked Thomas Massey. He's attacked Japan. He attacked a judge in Israel. He attacked the CEO of AT&T. He attacked Jerome Powell, Canada, Tom Tillis for sure, a Forbes reporter, Harvard, and then joked about migrants being eaten by pythons. And also, while this was going on, he released his new line of colognes.
Gross.
This is all in the last 24 hours. I mean,
it probably smells like a sewer.
Probably. That's what I heard he smells like. But I mean, this This is crazy.
Do you think when the 2026 midterm comes, do you think he's going to have ICE and the military posted up on the outside to scare people?
I'm not going to say that that's not possible. I am not going to say that that is not possible. I am putting everything on the table with this guy. Everything on the table. There is nothing that anybody could say, do you think he's going to do this? That I would say, no, there's no chance, my dear. I appreciate your phone call. I wish I had a better answer for you, but I think it's a possibility. Let's go all the way to the UK. I love my UK callers. Let's go to Paul. Paul from the UK. What's going on, my friend?
Hi there, Brian. Thanks for taking the call.
Sure.
Just a quick observation. Obviously, as you know, I've been watching this whole Trump thing since 2015. And I said before, I knew in 2015 this guy was a world ender, very dangerous. But also his incredible stupidity. And as an example, it came to me, this whole obliterated scandal when it comes to the bombing. If he had 10 brain cells, he would have simply said, we went there to give them a warning. We even told them in advance we were going to do it. We went there, we gave them a slap on the wrist and said, don't you do anything more than this. And therefore, the mission was 100% successful. That's all he had to do.
Yeah. But here's the thing.
You know what I mean? He could have made it a successful mission by saying it was just to give them a warning. It was a shot across the bows.
He could have done that.
No, they better not be.
But he decided not to do that. He wanted to be Mr. Tough Guy, just like sending a bunch of our Marines to L.A. By the way, there's nothing going on in L.A. right now. Those Marines are out there. They're doing. There's nothing for them to do. There's nothing out there. And with Donald Trump,
no doubt about it.
Yeah, he cares more about how he looks than what's good for the country. That's what makes him so dangerous, Paul.
I'm sure you heard him say that he felt like a warrior after the bombing.
Yeah,
and it just. Honestly, I felt sick in my throat. He felt like a warrior, the 5-time draft dodger.
Well, that's what's so sick about him. You know, he'll accept the Purple Heart and he'll make himself sound like a warrior when Donald Trump's never been in a physical altercation his entire life. He dodged the military multiple times. He's had people around him 24/7. He's never worked an honest day his entire life either. But, you know, this is the guy that's standing outside of these cages today with Kristi Noem and Ron DeSantis bragging about these cages and treating human beings like animals. These are sick people. And at this point, if you still support Donald Trump, there's something wrong with you.
And a quick last anecdote, just bearing in mind what you said then. I've read a lot. I've read at least 13 books on him. And the book I read relatively recently was by his nephew. And his nephew recites an anecdote where Trump was on the golf course and was mocking another player for beating him, presumably. So he was mocking him to the point where the other player punched him on the jaw. And Trump goes down like a lead balloon and does nothing. Absolutely nothing. All that tough guy stuff, nothing. He didn't do anything. He didn't get up and hit the guy back. He did nothing. Nope. And this is his nephew telling this story.
No, Donald Trump is a coward. And if you coddle Trump, and if you happen to be an evil dictator like a Vladimir Putin, then you're able to get what you want. And Vladimir Putin somehow has been able to finagle this into Ukraine are the bad guys, that Vladimir Zelensky is the dictator. They started it. Somehow Putin has coddled Trump into this scenario where Donald Trump will hold a press conference and say, I think Vladimir Putin wants peace. And then Putin will, execute people in Ukraine, innocent women and children. I mean, it's insane. And I believe while Benjamin Netanyahu, in my opinion, I'm not going to compare him to Putin, but I will say this. I think Benjamin Netanyahu is certainly not out for America's best interest. And Benjamin, not at all. And I think he has also finagled Donald Trump to get into this war with Iran. It's funny how all these MAGA Republicans were so upset at Barack Obama. How could you deal with Iran? Well, I'll tell you something. Obama didn't drop any bombs in Iran. He used his words. And there weren't any, he didn't get us into an ill-advised war. But it's funny, all those MAGA Republicans now have no problem with what Donald Trump is doing. Again, these right-wing buffoons have zero credibility. Zero. All of them.
None. They're very dangerous jokes, all of them.
Yeah.
Idiots.
They are.
Unfortunately, you've got a parliament of idiots and Trump in the center of and I almost wish America had what we have, is like Question Time. I don't even ever watch Question Time in the House of Commons, where the Prime Minister has to answer tough questions and he gets mocked and jeered.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing you can't do in the House of Commons is call someone a liar. That's the only rule.
Yep.
You're not allowed to call another MP a liar. Everything else goes. And I'd love to see Trump standing up to that.
So I wanted to show you, or at least explain to you, what the official White House Twitter account has just put up. The official White House Twitter account has just put up a bunch of ice hats, alligator Alcatraz, make America safe again. That is the official White House Twitter account. I mean, these are sick times that we are living in. But that's, again, I'm not making this up. The official White House Twitter account has put that up.
Jeez.
It's sick.
I can't even believe it is America.
I can't either. But
I just can't. From Obama to this.
Yep.
It's like, what happened?
It's sick.
From JSK to this.
Yeah.
I have a dream to grab them by the you-know-what.
They are literally...
That's the thing.
They are literally endorsing many of those people that will be nonviolent criminals being attacked by alligators. It really is sick. We're putting it up on our YouTube page right now for everybody to see. That is the official... That is the official Twitter account of the White House. We're putting it up on our YouTube page now for everybody to see. It's just sick. It's sick who these people are. They have ice hats on top of alligators in this image. And it says, alligator Alcatraz, make America safe again. Ice hats on top of these alligators. Listen.
I just can't believe it, Brian. I can't even believe it. I mean, I can believe it. That's the worst bit is I can believe it now. If you told me that Obama did that, I wouldn't believe a word of it. I wouldn't even.
No, he would never do that.
You're lying.
You can't name me a Democrat that would do this. No, it's disgusting. George W. Bush wouldn't have done it. I mean, it just. And listen, I'm not a George W. Bush defender.
Nixon wouldn't have done it.
They think that this is funny. They're enjoying this and they're getting kicks out of it, and they think it's funny. I mean, I don't know, Paul. I don't know what else to say, Paul. I appreciate your phone call, my friend, and I always appreciate it when you call in. Again, the official White House Twitter account putting up imagery of alligators with ice hats on them, make America safe again. It's absolutely and positively sickening. I don't know what else to say. It's absolutely sickening, and it's terrible. MJ says, check out the White House X account. There is no bottom. MJ, you're right. We just did that, and we appreciate your support. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Dave. Dave is next up on PTL. I'm wondering, for all the people out there that are listening, I'm wondering, what do you make of the White House on Twitter putting out a picture of Donald Trump with alligators and ice hats on them saying, alligator Alcatraz, make America safe again? If you're a Trump supporter, are you okay with that? Let's go to Dave. Dave, what's going on?
As I listened to your show just now, that's the first I had heard that he put it on his Twitter site.
It's on the official, the official White House. That's even
holy
worse.
Crap.
Yeah.
I'm almost speechless. When I listen to your show, I jot down notes and about things I'd like to talk about. But man, that just threw me a loop. That really did.
So what they're doing is they're taking these alligators and they're making it funny, right? And as you know, Donald Trump joked around about a migrant maybe being attacked by an alligator if he tried to escape. And now they took that imagery with ice hats on top of the alligators, which leads me to believe what they're saying to people in this country: if ICE comes after you, these alligators are next for you. That's really what that imagery, to me, it promotes violence. To me, it promotes violence. And tell me if I'm wrong, guys. Correct me if I'm wrong. When you're showing these pictures of these alligators with ice hats on them, you're telling the world, if we deport you, you could be attacked by alligators. That's what they're saying.
Well, I did have one point to make, and that is, I guess maybe I'm stating the obvious here. Don't you think that ICE is a lot like the Gestapo and the KGB?
Yes, yes, I do, and that's why
these guys show up in masks and no identifying badges on their sleeve. I mean, nothing.
That is why
and herd people into their SUVs and haul them off.
Yeah,
with no identification, no nothing.
Look, Dave, This is an oligarchy. It is a dictatorship. And now what's next? Are we turning into Germany, Nazi Germany? What's next here? Again, I want to repeat this to everybody because we cannot normalize this kind of behavior. This isn't some right-wing turd on social media. This is the official White House account that has put up a picture and imagery of alligators with ice hats on them next to a picture of Donald Trump
Unbelievable.
saying alligator Alcatraz. That imagery tells most people this is what ICE is doing. They're going to get you, and then the alligators are going to get you. That's really what that imagery is. They will probably.
What a disgrace.
It's beyond a disgrace. I mean, it's amazing. I'm sickened by it. I'm wondering if any MAGA Republican can defend that. How are you going to defend that?
Can I make one more suggestion?
Yes.
If you want to get inside of these people that Trump hangs with, the Johnson & Johnson son on his 21st birthday, after his 21st birthday when he inherited his millions, did an expose called Born Rich of all the rich people that stay in their little closed club. It's an excellent expose that will prove to anyone exactly what these people are like.
I'll check it out, my friend, and I do appreciate the call, Dave. Thank you. Let's go to Paul. Paul is next up on PTL. Hey, Paul, what's going on, man?
Oh my God, dude! You know, every day you wake up and you think like there seems to be no bottom to this. Do you? I know that you want to think about the midterms. I know we talked about this once or twice. This is not sustainable for the next year and a half to the midterms. I think we kind of agree on that now, right? I mean, this is not healthy.
No, it's not. Donald Trump, by the way, just said we have a moron at the head of the Fed. He just made that statement just now a few moments ago. This comes just not that long, Paul, after I just mentioned the official White House Twitter account putting imagery of alligators with ice hats on them. I mean, is this where we've come as a country? Is this where we have come?
Yes, he's the modern day Hitler. He is the white clan leader of the White House. He is a racist piece of shit. And everybody that's okay with it, you are a racist too. That's what this is. That's what it's always been about, is racism. Since 1787, it's been about white America. And a lot of these people in my family, Brian, I have family members, and I don't really give a damn if they like it or not.
Can I ask you something, Paul? Am I wrong in making this analogy? If the White House put up a bunch of Klan hoods with MAGA hats on them, I would say, wow, we'd say that's terrible. That's racist. But is this any better? They took a bunch of alligators when Trump joked hours earlier about them eating human beings. They took those alligators, they put ice hats on them, which means ICE is coming to get you. They're the alligators. I mean, that's really what this is, right? To me, it's the same thing.
It is. This is Auschwitz. This is America Auschwitz. This is a concentration camp. And we're sleepwalking into Adolf Hitler and Benito Mussolini's playbook. And too many white people in this country are saying, oh, it's not my fight. Oh, it doesn't affect me. If you think the darkness isn't going to come over your door, you are sadly misinformed and ignorant.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
I want to revisit something that you and I talked about really quick. I believe at this point, and I don't think after this bill passes, Brian, this country is screwed. I would like to revisit the conversation about a general strike to shut the country down. Do you still think that's not a viable option waiting to the midterms? I know you were kind of on the fence for a while about that.
I'll have to think about that, Paul. Call me back tomorrow and I'll try to give you a better answer.
Okay.
I don't know right now. I got to be honest with you, Paul. I'm almost speechless. I cannot believe what the White House Twitter account just put out. It'd be one thing if they said, Alcatraz alligator with a picture of Trump with his thumbs up. That'd be inappropriate enough. But they got pictures of alligators with. I'm trying to compartmentalize this in my head. They have ice hats on alligators hours after Trump was joking about an alligator eating a migrant. This is beyond. I'm at a loss for words. It's beyond the pale. Like I cannot believe somebody in the White House got the okay to do that. Like I can't believe it.
Brian, we put a rapist in the White House. Why does this surprise us? This is who he is. He is a racist piece of human trash. And I have family members, Brian, that are all bent out of shape because I made a video. I'm like, you know what? You voted for a rapist. You voted for a misogynist. You voted for January 6th. And to come up here and say, oh, we just have a difference of opinions. Can't we agree to disagree? Absolutely effing not. This is not about a difference of opinion. It's a difference in morality.
I appreciate the call, Paul, and you're right. We ask people to call into the show. Just try to use proper language if you can. We are on the radio. We appreciate that. We're following breaking news. You know, it's interesting. There's a lot of people on social media. They won't call into the show, but they say, Brian, you're just being a crybaby. Okay, tell me why you think I'm being a crybaby. Why don't you take your little Trump fingers and call into the show and go ahead and tell me on the air, for the thousands and thousands and thousands of people that listen to the show every day, tell me why you are okay with the White House putting out imagery of alligators with ice hats on them. Explain to me why you think that's okay. If you think I'm being a crybaby, go ahead and call into the show, or be a coward and don't, or be a keyboard warrior like so many of you are. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. 702-221-SAVE. Let's go to Donatella, who's next up on PTL. Hello, Donatella.
Hi, Brian. How
Hi.
are you?
Good.
Okay. Well, listen, I there's just so many things to say that you can't even pick a topic about it because it's so crazy. And they do that on purpose, you know, so that you're undulated with everything every day and you don't know, you know, you can't stay the course. But, you know, I've been staying the course, and now they're talking about, Melania's, being, whether she's truly legal or not. I can't believe the media did not do something about this a long time ago. I mean, if they don't want to be our warriors, if they don't want to be our heroes, if we can't get somebody to do these freaking jobs, let's fire them all. I mean, if Trump can get out there and sell watches, and now he's got cologne out there that he says, everybody's going to smell great, which he really needs to dump the whole bottle of himself and take a bath in that, from what I understand. But, I can't, it's just absolutely overwhelming to me. And as far as those stupid alligators goes, the first thing that I would do is, is they'd all be wiped out. I mean, they'd just be wiped out. I cannot believe that we don't have anybody coming around. And the icing on top of my cake is today, I got in the mail from my Amazon account. Okay, from my Amazon account, I got mailed to me a game about Hitler. I've got a picture on my Facebook about it. Mm-hmm. But anyway, it's got a name of a woman, Michelle Wade, who I've never met, but she went through my Amazon account and ordered this and sent me a game about Hitler. I've had letters from these people. I might as well go over there and work so that I can get threatened some more. Maybe you get paid for it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I hear you. And it just, I'm listening to all of you call in, and you're all making a lot of good points. And I've seen a lot of despicable things from the Trump administration and politicians in general. But I got to be honest with you, this is right up there. If this isn't incitement of violence, I don't know what is. You have alligator imagery with ice hats on them, a picture with Donald Trump hours after Trump bragged about alligators eating migrants. If that's not incitement of violence, I don't know what it is. Lori, Lori on the YouTube super chat. When are they going to start selling merchandise with that saying on the White House website? Oh, I'm sure they already have. And I'm sure MAGA deplorables are already taking advantage of it, Lori. I'm sure they will. I'm sure if it's a way for Donald Trump to make money, he'll do it no matter what. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you do want to be a part of the conversation. Let's see here. Who are we going to next? Let's go to Paula. Paula's next on PTL. Hey, Paula, what's going on?
Hey, Brian. Thank you for taking my call. I'm a first-time caller. I've been listening for several months now.
Thank you.
A little bit nervous. I retired yesterday. I'm 69 years old, and I am in shock, horror, sadness every day when I see what's happening to this country. But your previous caller that mentioned his family, I think it might be interesting to take a poll of your listeners to see how many listeners have family members that they're now estranged from due to Don the Con. I as well have family members who I'm estranged from because they've been brainwashed and they're full of hate and there's no reasoning with them.
Yeah.
But that just adds to the anxiety of seeing what Trump's doing.
Yeah.
He's tearing families apart. And anyway, I appreciate you, and I'd like to listen to you every day.
Well, that's very sweet of you, my dear. I hope you call back. It's good to hear from you. I have plenty of clowns on social media, but there's one clown who said Brian loves violence. To that Nimrod, who, by the way, is a coward, and a taco who refuses to call into the show, I've never called someone who beats police officers heroes, patriots, or hostages. The guy who you voted for did that. I've never condoned a hate group like the Proud Boys and told them to stand back and stand by. That's not who I am. I don't condone any violence, and I'll call it out anywhere. So people like that who make those sort of statements are obviously not smart enough to take their little orange Trump fingers and call into the show and actually have a conversation. But they have their giggles sitting in their mom's basement on their keyboard. Brian hates violence. Go ahead and call into the show. Let's have that conversation and tell me why you think I condone violence. James Carr said just a few months into his presidency, I'm scared to see what the next couple of years is going to bring. James, so am I. I didn't think that it was going to get this bad. I cannot believe what we are talking about now. I cannot believe it. Let's see. Who are we going to next here? Let's go to Ardeen. Ardeen is next up on PTL. Hello, Ardeen.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
I'm basically 73. I live in a senior complex and low income, basically living on Social Security, Medicare, Advantage Care.
Yep.
My life's over basically, so it's going to be over. But what really bothers me more and hurts me a lot is that I do a lot of volunteer work. That's how I spend my time. My 40 hours where I get paid. Now I'm doing volunteer work because of my age, and I work in assisted living places a lot. There's people in these homes. Nobody comes to them. Nobody. Are these people going to be on the curb in their wheelchairs on the curb? Is that what's going to happen now?
Yes. I listen. I'm never going to lie to my audience. I'm never going to. I'm never going to say things that I don't believe.
Okay.
And I'm never going to say things just to make people happy. I'm always going to be honest. And I am very, very, very concerned and worried. The first 5 months. And by the way, your life is not over. Okay. You worked hard, I'm sure, your entire life to be able to enjoy later years in life. And your Medicaid should not be taken away.
Is there a point when it gets back to the House? Is there a point that it could be not passed, especially for the witching hour of, what was it, July 4th?
There is a possibility, but I can tell you right now, I would say there's a and this is my opinion, I think there's about a 75% chance that it does get passed. You know, we could thank Murkowski. It does. Murkowski, we could thank. She was a deciding factor. Obviously, J.D. Vance was going to vote for this bill. There's nothing big and beautiful about it. It's disgusting. It's horror. No. You're taking away food stamps from Americans that are suffering. You're taking away Medicaid from Americans that are suffering. And these are, let me repeat this again. We got to keep repeating this. These are some of the biggest tax breaks for billionaires in the history of this country. I told you guys that this was going to happen. I said it. He is going to give the billionaires the biggest tax breaks. He did it first time around. He's doing it again, and this is even worse. And then all the MAGA Republicans that call into this show, they say, oh, Brian, you don't know what you're talking about. He helped the middle class. Oh, really? Explain to me how this big, beautiful bill helps the middle class. Explain to me how this big, beautiful bill helps women that have children and need Medicare, or anybody for that matter that needs Medicare, that's struggling, living paycheck to paycheck, or on food assistance. Explain to me how this helps the poor and somehow we get more out of the rich, because it doesn't. That's why it doesn't.
It doesn't. I mean, I'm awestruck. I'm baffled. I'm just totally. I went the days back when Jimmy Carter was president, and the only problem we had was Billy Beer when his brother was trying to make money off of him being the president, and he sold beer on the side, and that was a big controversy. I went those days back. I went that when there was not controversies going on with the president, the person that's supposed to be standing up for us and doing the right thing for us and standing up for the Constitution. That's the president I want back.
I agree.
I want that kind of president.
I agree. We're not going to get one for a little while. We have to be prepared for that. I'll even go back to John McCain when he took the microphone from that lunatic when she called Barack Obama an Arab, and McCain took that microphone right away and said, no, ma'am, Barack Obama is a decent man. He's a good family man. We just disagree on policy. We need to go back to that time, but I don't know if we're going to get there in my lifetime again, thanks to Donald Trump. I really don't. John McCain was a good man. Didn't always agree with him. Good man. Mitt Romney's not a horrible human being. Don't always agree with him. Not a horrible human being. We need more decent Americans having good-spirited debate. I'm talking about politicians, okay? We don't have many MAGA Republicans that are willing to do that. Let's go to Steve. By the way, the number to call, 702-221-7283, 702-221-SAVE. Let's go to Steve. Steve, what's up?
I feel like I hit the lottery getting on the phone with you. Man, I'm from New Jersey originally, so I grew up right across the river from you know who. And I'm in the music business. I make records here in Nashville, and I've met everybody you want to think about in the music business. But being able to talk on your show is like a highlight for me, man.
That means a lot to me. Thank you, Steve.
And yeah, and I just can't imagine your family must be really worried about you because you get really worked up, man. I'm worried about you. And the other thing too is you have to come out with T-shirts that says no.
I was going to come out with a T-shirt that says you have TFS, Trump fellatio syndrome. We're working on that. But listen, I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to lie to you. Covering the news every day and covering the Trump administration every day has taken a toll on me. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, no, everything's great. But I think I've done a better job, especially recently, as being able to separate personal life from the radio show. But the problem is that Trump affects my personal life too. Forget about the radio show. It affects all of us.
Yeah, I've got family members.
Yeah.
I've got friends and family members who are Trumpers. That's really, really rough.
It's rough.
Really rough.
It is rough. So it affects all of us. The only problem is that I can't really mentally check out. Some people, and I understand a lot of people can't either, but if you're not doing a radio show every day, maybe you can mentally check out once in a while, a day or two.
Well,
I can't do that.
Because of people like you and David Pacman and Jessica freaking Tarloff, who I love. I think she's so
I want to get Jessica. I want to get Jessica on the show. Actually, Pacman's going to be doing this show next week.
And Pacman is so cool because he doesn't get as excited as you.
Yep.
But he drives the point home just like you. My daughter went to Ole Miss for broadcast journalism. She works for the local Channel 4 NBC affiliate here, and all they do is concentrate on the local news. You know what I mean? And that's all I need to know. And I can get my information from you, Pac-Man, whatever. But I just so much enjoy watching you because
thank you, my friend.
Such idiots. How stupid are these people? But man, right on, man. I'm so glad I got to talk to you. If you're ever here in Nashville,
thank you.
I don't know how I'd be able to look you up. Your whoever.
I'll let
you have
you know.
This number.
I'll announce it. I announce when I take vacations, my friend. And your words are very kind. I appreciate you. And part of the reason why I do what I do is because of good people like you. So it means a lot to me. So thank you for your kind words, and please call back. All right. Just a reminder to everybody that you're going to watch your language on this show. There's no swearing, cussing. You can call me a name, but you have to be, you have to abide, for lack of a better term. All right. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Jeff. My understanding is Jeff is a Trump supporter, but he's got to turn down his radio. Jeff, you got to turn down your radio.
I got hired by people that could afford.
Jeff, hold on.
And, my entire radio and TV
Wait,
career.
this is a good example. This is a good example of a Trump supporter.
Radio and TV stations.
Pod down, Jeff, for a second. So this is a very good example of a Trump supporter who has a very low IQ. He calls into a radio show. He's on hold. He's not ready to talk, or yet he's a coward and he doesn't want to talk. And he doesn't understand that there's a delay between a radio show and the internet. So this is a very, very good prime example of a MAGA buffoon. Hi, Jeff. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. Thanks for wasting our time, Jeff. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Darlene. Darlene is next up on PTL. Hey, Darlene, what's going on?
Hey, Brian. Now, I'm going to talk. First of all, Brian, me and all the girls in the chat, we want to tell you how handsome you look today in your blue outfit.
Well, I appreciate
that.
Thank you.
There's a couple MAGA men in there that think they're hot, too. So I want to get that out there first.
Mushroom men.
Anyway.
We can call them mushroom men.
I'm telling you. Now, this is all wrong, y'all. We are not going to have an alligator Alcatraz. We are going to have a shark Alcatraz, and the first person that's going to come is Donald Trump. That's what I say. Forget the alligators.
Yeah.
And Brian, earlier before I got on here, I saw a post from Elon.
Yeah.
Elon basically said that he's going to get Trump if it's the last thing he does on Earth. Period. That's what he said.
Let's hope so, Darlene, the MAGA destroyer. It's always good to hear from you, my dear, and I appreciate you so much. Let's go to Tim. Tim is next up on PTL. Hey, Tim, what's going on? Thanks for.
Brian. I just wanted to know. Recently, I've heard about people being flown out, deported in airplanes, of course, and then being pushed out of the plane. Have you heard any of that information, or is this just?
Wait, did you say people being pushed out of planes?
Yes.
I have not heard that. I'll be honest with you. I have not.
Okay. Well, all right then. I just started hearing it and or seeing it on the internet. And,
what planes? You're talking about migrants or what planes?
Yeah, migrants.
Okay, yeah, I have
been deported.
Obviously, that's murder if it's happening. I have not heard of that, so I'll definitely look it up and look into it. What we do know is that Donald Trump was joking about alligators eating human beings today, and then the White House puts out a tweet with alligators with ice hats on top of it. I mean, it's just so despicable, so despicable.
It is. It's it's almost like we don't have words in the English language to express how awful it is.
Yeah, it really is terrible, my friend. I appreciate your call. I'll look into that. Just because somebody might have heard that doesn't necessarily mean that it's true, but we'll definitely report on it if there are accusations out there. 702-221-7283. Lucky Dragon is next up on PTL. What's up, Lucky Dragon?
Hey, Brian. How's it going?
What's up, man?
Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Two things real quick. Darlene, I'm still waiting for those adoption papers to come through to my house. I don't know what's taking so long. And number two, I just want to give a quick shout out to everybody in this community because they really offer me therapy. I really want to say thank you, Nina, Roxanne, Darlene, sick of it. Jesus, Lucky.
There's a lot of people.
Damon Dog.
Yeah,
we're here every day, man,
Dragon,
and we are so loyal.
Dragon,
and
you are.
I'm telling you,
and I appreciate all of you. I just want to say this, Dragon. I appreciate all of you. We've developed a great PTL community here, certainly on the YouTube chat, on TikTok. I said TikTok. There's a lot of wonderful people.
Don't get banned.
Yeah.
Don't get banned.
Now there's a lot of wonderful people that having over now 120,000 subscribers, it's a big deal. And I'm very humbled by all of you that are loyal. And so long as you guys continue to be loyal and continue to spread the word and support what I do, I'm going to keep doing this. We're going to be here. So I appreciate you guys very much.
And that's it. I didn't have no jokes today, so I just really want to say thank you to my community. You know what I mean? So
absolutely. Amen, brother.
I really love you guys, and I love you too, Brian.
Thank you, Lucky Dragon. We appreciate you. I love you as well, and I'm very humbled. Listen, people don't know what goes into this radio show. After work, after the show today, editing some YouTube videos, posting on social media, booking guests for the show. Maybe not tomorrow, but Thursday, Friday. By the way, Larry Flint's wife, Liz Flint, is going to be joining us on the show Thursday. The late, great Larry Flint. So his wife is going to be joining us on the show Thursday. A lot of talk about censorship. And what would Larry Flint say about Donald Trump today? What would Larry Flint say about what Donald Trump is doing to members of the media? What would Larry